What's up, guys? Mike here from Ekim Knives, and I'm back. I know. Don't even say it. I'm not going to say it if you don't say it. I've been inactive for a little while. Right? Craziness running around. I'm not going to make excuses and cry about it. But I didn't forget about you guys. That's the important thing. I will never forget about you guys. If I haven't been active in a while, haven't responded to anything, it's just because I'm going out of my mind with wedding planning and my regular job. So, bear with me. I'll be back. I'll be back eventually. So, I did shoot a video last week, and to be honest, it was kind of boring. Right? I didn't upload it yet. I will. And it's just about electronics in the knife shop. Chances are, if you're seeing this, you've already seen it. And it's just kind of a public service announcement. It's an important video and something that you should take seriously in your knife shop before it burns to the ground. But it's not fun. It's not a how-to. It's not a tutorial. So, I owe you guys something better than that. Now, obviously, you guys know that I've been into chef knives lately. Just because it's on the pegboard of shame, and this pegboard stares at me every day, full of heat-treated blanks that are begging to get done. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You've done a flat grind tutorial already. Why are you going to show us how to grind one of these? And the answer is simple, because these aren't simple, right? It's if you're a beginner grinder, don't try to grind your first knife as a chef. These are thin stock, a very long blade. They flex with that much length. Especially when you start thinning them out, they'll start flexing and pushing away from the belt. So this takes a little bit more skill, a little bit more finesse to get right. So I'll show you the kind of the progress, and this one I had no idea I was going to do this video, so this is halfway. See, I grind it from this is the blank. We're starting to get there, starting to look like something. And this is the finished product. Now this one here, if you're wondering what makes this so special, show me where the plunge line is. That's what makes this special. There is no plunge. It looks like a full flat grind, but it's not. It's all blended. It's all hidden. So I'm going to show you how to go from this to this and making your first chef. Alright, so you intermediate grinders out there that want to give this a shot, bear with me. It's harder than it looks, but there are some tricks that'll help you along the way. So stick with me. I'm going to strap the GoPro to my head and try not to look too goofy to give you a better perspective. So try not to laugh too much. Just like always, I get my little friend, Mr. Ekim, and we're going to mark the edge. We don't need to go crazy and mark the whole blade, just the edge. And for this, because it's 100 thou thick, I set my edge scribe to, what is that, about 45 thousandths. So that'll leave us a 10 thousandths mark on the very edge. Now don't forget, when you're scribing these guys, especially a long blade like this, hear that? It's just a little bit off, so just make sure you press down and slide the scriber, not the blade. This will give you a nice clean mark doing it this way. Alright, we'll flip it over, do the same thing. So now we should have a 10 thousandths of an inch reference kind of set of train tracks on the bottom there. Of course it's not going to show up. You get the idea. It looks like almost a single line, but there's two very close together. Alright, I know you're a little crooked, but bear with me. Yeah, and I know. I got the goofy GoPro going. Go ahead. So, for this, we're not going to do anything fancy. We're going to eyeball it. There's one important key here, and that's you don't want to grind past my finger. So, we're going to just draw a line on the blade, and it doesn't really matter where. Maybe something like that. And you just don't want to go past that line. Anything underneath it is fine. You go past here and you got to start over, unfortunately. So I'll just continue on that line on the other side just by grabbing it on the end like that so I know where to go. and we'll just something like that. It don't have to be straight because it really doesn't matter the way I do it. Okay? Alright, now we're going to grind in our 45s on this old worn belt. Of course, flat grind. And then after that, we're going to start walking it up the steel. You want to take it right up to the line with your 45s. I don't know if that'll come through there. Right up to the line. Now these don't have to be perfect, and I take it back a little bit more than 45 degrees just because it's such a tall grind that, I don't know, it's probably 30 degrees with such thin stock and tall steel. Okay, we got our 45s pretty much established now. You see there? Well, more like our 30s. Very, very big 45 degree grinds. But you want to just get that to your final thickness, right? Or almost your final thickness. So I'm shooting for 10 thousandths. I probably have about maybe 15, 20 on here, on the edge right now. After I sand it and do some finish grinding on it and everything, it'll come way down and it'll thin nice, thin out real nice. If you want it thicker, leave it a little thicker, obviously. Like this one here, I ground thick. So if you're gonna, I don't know, but plan this for a chopper or something like that, if you want a nice thin slicer, thin it out now. Okay, now for this we got our 30s ground in. I'm going to swap out to a fresh 60 grit belt. And of course, guys, with this, you want to grind already heat treated. This is already heat treated to 62 Rockwell, so it's very hard. So you want to use fresh belts and dip in water frequently. Watch your heat, seriously. Don't even bother trying to grind these and then heat treat and regrind. It's probably going to warp and heat treat because it's very thin, very long. I just grind after heat treat. It's just easier that way for this really thin stock. Okay, so we got a fresh 60 going on. And like usual, I'll grind one side so you don't have to sit and watch me do both sides. Now, as you see, we take it all the way back. So once we get up here, we're going to get a little bit of a distal taper going in, which is nice. We want that. And we're going to try and follow this line. So of course that means when you're grinding and you're holding it like this, you're going to push forward with your index finger right here. Let the steel tell you where it's going to go. So if you've been practicing your flat grinding, you kind of have a feel for that now. And towards the heel, you're going to press with your thumb. So press forward here so it's not too thick here. Ultimately, we want all of this to go away and be blended in. Now mix this blending with the lengthwise blending and we'll have the grind we're hoping for. Now that's why this is more of an intermediate or an advanced grind. But practice it. It's very, very good practice. And it will help you tremendously with your little hunting knives. Believe me. You can start anywhere you like. It doesn't matter because there is no plunge grind. And we're going to do this in sections. So for right now, I'm going to work on this nose and take some of that meat out of there. Start hogging out some material. And then I'll work my way back and until eventually I get back here. I'll tell you right now, for most people, myself included, this part right here is a trouble spot. So just be aware of that. You might want to do that first. Maybe we'll do that. See how I'm kind of working it together? I have one flat here, one flat there, and of course my 30 or 45 degree angles. And I'm just going to kind of work this up a little bit without overshooting. Definitely do not overshoot. Right there. See, we had the two different flats. I put a flat in between them. Now we're starting to blend it all together. See what I mean? It looks like crap now, but believe me, at the end we will blend it all and it'll look good. And of course, with the tip, it doesn't matter because you're going to go right off the spine. So I can start way high like this. You know, I could do something like that and jump way up high and just blend it all. Whatever you're more comfortable with, guys, is what you should do. And of course, some trial and error helps too. See, just starting to blend it all together. As you can see, I'm rolling the GoPro footage. You'll see that I'm doing it in sections. And then after that section is to my satisfaction, I do a couple of passes all the way back and forth and blend it. You see, now it's starting to look like one big grind. So I'll keep doing that and walking it up the steel, blending it and walking it up and blending it.
Just keep moving on up.
Remember, if your grind is truly flat, your grind lines will be straight by default, in most cases. So focus on getting truly flat. You don't want any waves or dips in it. You notice I'm focusing a lot on the nose. You see that huge facet in the front. Because we have that distal taper, that's where most of the meat is going to have to come off. And then I'll blend it all into the back. You see? I'll give you an example of some things that might happen to you and how to fix it. Let me see if I can make it happen. Okay. See that wave? I let the grinder dig in. There is a serious gouge there now. All right, so you can see it pretty good. So now, instead of... Let me stop this so you can hear it. This is kind of important. So instead of just putting that spot on the belt just like that and just letting it sit there and do nothing, right? Instead of putting it like that, I'm going to rock back and forth just like this, right? Let me get this respirator off. So instead of sitting just like this, hopefully you guys can see that, I'm going to go halfway, go all the way to the end, halfway, all the way to the end. And this will help you blend it, right? In order to remove a gouge, a scratch, or anything like that, you're not removing the scratch itself. You're removing everything else around it. So go to the left of it, go to the right of it, top, bottom, everything, and it'll get it out. I'll show you what I mean. You see what I mean? We have a tiny little tick mark right there, but for the most part, it's gone. It's blended. You see what I mean? So this will also help you fix, wow, the lighting is terrible right now. This will also help you fix inconsistencies in your grind lines, guys. And this works for any knife. So if this isn't straight, or if you got a big gouge right here or a gouge right here or something like that, just start working the whole area and it'll come out. Right? Remember, knife making is making a bunch of mistakes and fixing them as you go along. The good knife makers just know how to fix them right. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can go on the flat and crooked too. So something like this. You see what I mean? It really doesn't matter as long as you got the right pressure control. You're pressing where you need to remove steel, and you've got that angle. I mean, this flat is so big right now that I could close my eyes and do it and find that flat. It's just getting it perfectly flat that's the trick. And not grinding your fingers off because the steel is so thin. Now, I've been pushing into the belt pretty hard this whole time. I'm going to lighten up my pressure a little bit and just kind of let the belt follow along on the steel to help blend that in. A lot of stuff strapped to my head for that. It's odd. It's very odd. Okay, so let's do the classic. We'll dip it in some water. Wipe it on my shirt. And hopefully you can see that. That's where we are right now. It's 60 grit. As you can see, for right here, this stage, you really want to check it for significant, and I mean like some serious gouging, scratching. You have a tendency on such a long knife to kind of get a little cockeyed going in, and you hit the corner of your platen, and you're going to gouge it bad. And it happens so quick. And when it's this long and you're this rough of a grit, it's so easy to overlook it. So just watch for the gouging. That's number one. And do it in sections. Right? Break it down piece by piece if you have to, and then blend it. The better you get good at blending stuff, kind of like a painter, you know, if you're thinking about painting a car or something, those guys, they lay down a coat, they blend in the next one, and everything's blended, so you never ever knew there was more than one coat. Right? Same thing with this. You would look at this and think that I did full passes, but no. You don't have enough control. The leverage isn't there. Use the leverage that you have to your advantage, choking up and getting in there and taking that stock out. Now you would think for an 8-inch chef, which is what this is, that this wouldn't be a whole lot of metal. But I'll tell you right now, guys, I just ground this off of this. Ugh. There is a lot of material to remove, even this 100 thou thick stock, and you know, just grinding one side. Alright, so like I said, I'll spare you the other side. I'll do this off camera, and I guess tomorrow or another day I'll do a part 2. We're just going to refine this a little bit. We'll take it up to like a 120, maybe 220, and then I'll hand sand it, and I'll show you how to do that too. I might not show you the refining it, because it's easy. Do the same thing with finer belts. Okay, this is the principle that you need to understand. Just know that you can't go any higher than that or you're going to be in trouble. And then, so I'll refine it and I'll show you the hand sand process of how to blend this. Kind of go against the rules with that, but it's what you need to do. Alright guys, hopefully this helped. Hopefully this makes up for me being away for so long. And I got a whole lot of videos kind of in the queue that I want to do. Like the sharpening one, I just need something to sharpen, of course. Maybe etching a logo, that kind of stuff. A whole bunch of stuff I want to do, guys. Just got to find the time to do it. Alright, enough rambling. This is Mike here from Ekim Knives, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.